Many of these people have worked with us over the years, on and off. Like I mentioned, these people are building the truck for me. I'm seeing it now for the first time, and it looks really good. A simple yard sale in Utah turned into a big federal problem. When Heavy D from the Diesel Brothers TV show decided to sell everything he owned, a judge got involved and forced him to stop. This wasn't about needing permission or neighbors complaining. This was a court order that stopped a business worth millions of dollars from working. What was Heavy D trying to sell so quickly? And what secret was he keeping that was so huge it took a federal court to shut it down? The day when everything went up for sale, it all began with an announcement that shocked everyone who loves trucks. Heavy D, the bigger-than-life star of Diesel Brothers, made a video and put it online. The message was clear and surprising. He was selling everything. Not just a few old trucks, but all the stuff from his famous Sparks motor shop in Woods Cross, Utah. Projects that weren't finished, hard to find parts, big equipment, and even his own personal vehicles were all for sale. The video said that everything had to go because big changes were happening in the business. For fans, this felt like a once-in-a-lifetime chance. The gates opened and it felt like people were on a special trip. Crowds of people came to the shop, hoping to buy a piece of the Diesel Brothers' history. The yard was filled with diesel-powered treasures. Huge cumulative trucks sat next to groups of old military vehicles. Engines, axles, and toolboxes were laid out for anyone with money to buy. It looked like the end of something special, a big sale for a kingdom that had fallen. The feeling was wild, a mix of excitement and confusion. Why would someone at the top of his fame sell the very machines that made him a star? While deals were being made and trucks were being loaded onto trailers, something unbelievable happened. The sale was stopped, not by local police, but by a federal judge. The gates were locked and people were sent away. Some people who had already paid for their items got their money back and were told to leave. The huge yard sale ended as fast as it started. The shocking thing found in Heavy D's garage wasn't a hidden truck or money. It was a legal bomb. The sale itself broke a court order. It was an act of desperation by Ram Runner. This truck became the symbol for the entire Diesel Brothers show, a 7-ton monster that started its life in the most simple way possible. It was built from the wreckage of a 2012 Dodge Ram 3500 that had been in a bad accident, leaving it with a badly damaged frame. But Heavy D and his team saw possibility where others saw garbage. They stretched the cab and frame, adding a custom-built third door using parts from 2 other doors and the window of a Dodge Durango. The result was a huge 6-door cab with 3 sunroofs and seating for 6 people. Under the hood, the Mega Ram Runner was all power. It was powered by a Cummins engine tuned to make an amazing 600 horsepower. That power went through a custom-built Ford 4R100 transmission and an Axletech T600 transfer case originally made for a semi-truck. But the real secret to its power was underneath. The truck rode on 2 huge Axle 4000 planetary axles. These weren't parts you could buy at a regular auto shop. Prevailing grade axes were military-grade axles built for MRAP vehicles, the kind designed to survive roadside bombs in a war zone. Each axle weighed 1,500 pounds and was held in place by a custom 4-link suspension system with heavy-duty FOA shocks. To finish it off, the truck was fitted with 43-inch Goodyear military tires, making it able to drive over almost any terrain. The Mega Ram Runner was more than a truck. It was a statement of rebellion, a symbol of Heavy D's way of thinking about building things bigger and stronger than anyone thought was possible. But the Mega Ram wasn't the only monster in the garage. Heavy D also brought a childhood dream to life with the Tonka T-Rex. This project started with a Ford F-250 Super Duty and was turned into a life-sized version of the famous yellow toy truck. The engine was a 6.4-litre Power-stroke diesel. Experts at Banks Power heavily changed it. It got a Banks Ram Air intake, a monster exhaust, and a straight-shot water over a regular truck, but could be inflated an extra 2 inches for shows, letting people see the custom powder-coated suspension parts underneath. It rode on huge 40-inch Toyo tires wrapped around 20-inch American Force wheels. The outside was a perfect tribute to the toy with a custom Tonka grille, Fab Four's bumpers, and a signature yellow and black vinyl wrap that made it look like it had just rolled out of a giant toy box. Then there was the Brodozer, a machine so famous it became the first diesel-powered truck to ever compete in a Monster Jam event. This wasn't just a show truck, it was a 12,000-pound beast built to fly. The heart of the Brodozer was a 6.6-litre Duramax engine, custom-built by Wagler Competition Products. It featured a Callies ultra-billet crankshaft, WCP billet rods, and Ross pistons. A huge compound turbo setup using precision turbos helped the engine make over 1,100 horsepower. All that power went through a Cohen Powerglide transmission to an SCS dropbox transfer case. The truck sat on custom 26-inch shocks in the front and 30-inch shocks in the rear, with 2 shocks per wheel. It even had 4-wheel steering, letting it handle any obstacle with ease. The Brodozer was so popular that Diesel Dave himself got behind the wheel to drive it on the Monster Jam circuit. Heavy D's love for toughness led him to a special technique, Simmons using military surplus parts in many of his builds. He believed that these parts were the key to creating truly unstoppable vehicles. His way of thinking was simple. Why spend $10,000 building up a regular axle that could still break, when you could buy a brand new military axle for $500 that the government paid $50,000 for? He saw it as picking up Uncle Sam's leftovers. This is why his shop was often filled with extreme machines like HEMTT 10x10 military transport trucks and the huge Oshkosh 8x8 recovery vehicle. These weren't just for show, they were built to work in the toughest conditions you can imagine. This focus on raw power and military-grade hardware defined his workshop between a group of friends. The core of the crew was made up of a few key players who each brought something special to the table. His right-hand man and best friend was David Kiley, known to the world as Diesel Dave. The two Daves met at a church event for young singles. Discharged Heavy D invited him to go out to the lake with some friends. That friendship quickly turned into a business partnership. Diesel Dave was the first person Heavy D ever hired for his construction business back in 2008. While Heavy D was the master mechanic and dreamer, Diesel Dave was the promotional genius. With his outgoing personality, he handled much of the social media and was the perfect hype man for their wild creations. He was the one who could sell a truck, make a video, or pull a prank, all with a giant bearded smile. Then there was Keaton Hoskins, better known as the Muscle. Keaton was a true businessman, having started and run over 22 different companies in his life, from gyms and personal training businesses to even a plastic surgery clinic. He brought a sharp business mind to the crew and a belief that you could be successful. In all parts of life, not just with money. He was the one who understood how to build a brand and connect with people on a deeper level, even hosting huge business events with speakers like Gary Vee and David Goggins. Finishing the main group was Joshua Stewart, or Redbeard. Redbeard was the quiet, spiritual heart of the team. He grew up on a Native American reservation in Utah, which gave him a deep connection to nature and a belief that everything in life happens for you, not to you. He was a thoughtful guy who brought a sense of calm and focus to the often crazy shop. Before joining the crew, he served for 15 years in the United States Navy as a lieutenant commander. This different group of personalities, the dreamer, the promoter, the businessman, and the spiritual warrior, was the secret formula that made the show a huge hit. A mountain of lawsuits. So, why would a man at the top of his game sell off his famous creations? The answer wasn't found in an engine or a toolbox. It was found in a stack of court papers that would bring his entire empire to its knees. The huge yard sale was a desperate try to deal with a legal storm that had been building for years. The main battle was fought against an unexpected enemy, a group of doctors. The Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment, or UPHE, filed a lawsuit against the Diesel brothers under the Clean Air Act. They weren't fans of the show. They accused Heavy D and his crew of purposely and repeatedly destroying the pollution control equipment on their diesel trucks. They argued that the Diesel brothers were turning trucks into disease-making machines that poured out clouds of black smoke, a practice known as rolling coal. The doctors' group said that diesel exhaust is one of the most toxic types of pollution and that the company's actions showed a careless disregard for the health of the community. To prove their point, the doctors' group bought one of the trucks modified by the Diesel brothers and had it professionally tested. The results were terrible. The truck put out 36 times more pollution and 21 times more particulate matter than a regular truck that had not been messed with. Armed with this proof, they took the Diesel brothers to court, and they won. The appeals court that later reviewed the case even noted the obvious misconduct by the Diesel brothers. The verdict was a crushing blow. A federal judge hit Heavy D and his companies with a fine of more than $850,000. But the money penalty was only part of the problem. The judge held Heavy D and the other leaders of the company personally responsible, meaning they couldn't just hide behind their business and let it go bankrupt. The money had to come from their own pockets. The worst part of the ruling, however, was the permanent order. The judge legally banned the Diesel brothers from ever again removing emission systems, installing defeat devices, or selling parts designed to bypass pollution controls. This was a kill shot to their brand. The very thing that made them famous, building loud, powerful, smoke-belching trucks, was now illegal. Their entire business model was outlawed overnight. Just as they were recovering from this defeat, another legal battle exploded. The famous Italian fashion brand Diesel sued the Diesel Brothers merchandise company for profits they had made from selling t-shirts and hats. They were being squeezed from both sides. Their ability to make money their old way was gone, and the money they had already made was being taken away. This is the dark secret that led to the yard sale. It wasn't a business change. It was a desperate last-ditch effort to raise cash and stay alive in the face of financial ruin. The man before the monster trucks. Heavy D wasn't born a TV star with a garage full of monster trucks. To understand how he got into a mess this big, you have to go back to the beginning. To a kid from Utah who was taught one thing above all else: how to work. Dave Sparks was born into a military family and learned about hardship at a young age. His father suffered from a brain tumor, a battle he fought for 20 years longer than doctors expected. The family faced incredible challenges. At one point, after his father was medically discharged from the military, they were homeless and lived in a van for 6 weeks. His parents did whatever they could to make ends meet, from delivering pizzas to installing car stereos. Watching his father get knocked down by health problems again and again, only to get right back up, taught Dave a powerful lesson. He developed a way of thinking that the worst-case scenario really isn't that bad, a belief that would fuel his risk-taking for the rest of his life. His interest in cars and trucks started early. Auto mechanics was one of his favorite subjects in high school, and he went on to study welding and fabrication at Weber State University. But college wasn't for him. He dropped out after just one semester, eager to start his own business and build things his own way. Before he became a TV star, another experience shaped the man he would become. As a young man, he served a 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in South America. This time taught him self-discipline and gave him a deep appreciation for other cultures, especially Latino culture. It also taught him how to talk to people, how to connect with them, and how to sell an idea. These were skills that would be important in building his huge social media following and his television personality. When he returned home, he started his career by working for his uncle's construction company, operating heavy machinery. He then launched his own excavation business and eventually opened a small used car lot called Diesel Sellers. He hired his best friend, David Kiley, who would become known to the world as Diesel Dave. And the foundation for the Diesel brothers was laid. They started posting videos of their work on YouTube. They weren't just building trucks, they were having fun, playing pranks, and doing wild stunts. Their energy was contagious, and people started to watch. Soon, one of their videos went viral and caught the eye of one of the biggest car guys in the world, Jay Leno. Leno featured their video on The Tonight Show, and almost overnight they were famous. That appearance led to a phone call from the Discovery Channel, and the show Diesel Brothers was born. His tough upbringing gave him the strength to succeed. But that same defiant, never-quit attitude may have also made him believe he was untouchable, leading him to ignore legal warnings and even a judge's direct order. Life after the fall and a shocking new direction. With his diesel empire in ruins and the law watching his every move, many thought Heavy D was finished. The yard sale looked like the final chapter, but what he did next was something no one saw coming. The man whose entire brand was built on the power of diesel fuel made a shocking change to the exact opposite: electricity. Before his legal troubles reached their peak, Heavy D had been hired by a controversial company called Nikola Motors. His job was to help design their futuristic electric and hydrogen fuel cell pickup truck, the Nikola Badger. The project was surrounded by hype, but it eventually fell apart and Nikola cancelled the Badger in 2020. Most people would have walked away, but Heavy D saw an opportunity. In a move that stunned the automotive world, he purchased all the rights to the failed Nikola Badger project. In February 2024, he announced plans to launch the Badger FCEV, along with a line of electric UTVs and personal watercraft, under a brand new company called EMBR Motors. The king of diesel was betting his entire future on a zero-emissions world. It was a move born out of necessity. With his old business model made illegal by the courts, he was forced to embrace the very technology that stood against everything his original brand represented. This new direction hasn't kept him out of the spotlight or away from controversy. He faced a huge backlash from car enthusiasts after a video showed his crew crushing dozens of classic Datsun and Nissan Z cars for a YouTube stunt. He later apologized, explaining the cars were beyond saving and had been wrecked or stolen, but the damage to his reputation was done. At the same time, there is another side to Heavy D that many people don't see. He is a husband and a father to 3 children. He met his wife Kristen at church in 2009 and married her a year later. She has been a huge source of support for him, and they work together on many business and charitable projects. He is known for his incredible generosity and charitable work. When Hurricane Harvey destroyed Houston, he and his team were among the first to respond, flying his personal helicopter on rescue missions and sending 6 semi-trucks loaded with supplies to the area. He does an annual toy drive for families in need and has used his resources to help people in all sorts of trouble, from searching for missing persons to helping a family whose truck broke down. This is the complicated picture of Dave Sparks, a man capable of both obvious misconduct and incredible kindness. The huge yard sale was never just about selling off old trucks. It was the public auction of a controversial legacy. The shocking thing they found in Heavy D's garage wasn't a hidden vehicle, but the crushing weight of the law that forced the king of diesel to give up his throne. He is now on a new path, betting everything on the one thing he never saw coming: the electric future.